In your 20s, you're probably just starting out in your career, and you may be tempted to spend money on all sorts of things you never thought possible before. But if you're not careful, you can fall into some common traps that can set you back financially for years to come. That's why we're going to take a closer look at some of the most significant money mistakes that young people make so you can avoid them and set yourself up for financial success. We're going to explore things like not creating a budget, racking up credit card debt, not saving enough for retirement, and making impulsive purchases. We'll also dive deeper into other areas like investing, student loan debt, insurance, and why seeking professional financial advice can help you to avoid the mistakes. So, whether you're just starting out or well into your 20s, this video is for you. It's never too early or too late to take control of your finances and make smart money decisions. Stick around, and by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what you need to do to achieve your financial goals and avoid the most significant money mistakes in your 20s. Not creating a budget. When it comes to managing your money, one of the most fundamental things you can do is create a budget. Yet many people in their 20s make the mistake of not budgeting at all, or not budgeting properly. You might be thinking, why do I need a budget? I'm not making that much money yet. But the truth is, a budget is essential for people of all income levels. It helps you understand where your money is going, and it allows you to make sure that you're saving enough and not spending more than you can afford. One of the most common misconceptions about budgeting is that it's restrictive and will limit your ability to have fun and enjoy life. But that's not true at all. A budget is not about depriving yourself of the things you want. It's about making sure that you're able to afford the things you want in the long term. Another misconception is that budgeting is hard, but it's not. Once you get the hang of it, it can be as simple as listing all your income and expenses for a month and then looking for areas where you can cut back. If you're not sure where to start, there are many apps and tools that can help you create a budget. To make budgeting more interesting, you can create a budget that allows you to have fun. You can also factor in expenses for entertainment, travel, or other enjoyable activities. It's all about finding a balance that works for you. Here are some tips to help you get started. Start by listing all of your income and expenses. Identify areas where you can cut back on expenses. Make sure to set aside money for savings and investing. Review your budget regularly and make adjustments as needed. Be realistic and be mindful of your spending habits. Creating a budget might not be the most exciting thing you'll do in your 20s, but it's an essential step in achieving financial success. Remember, budgeting is not about sacrifice, but about making sure you're able to afford the things you want in the long term. Racking up credit card debt. Let's talk about one of the most common money mistakes that young people make. Racking up credit card debt. Credit cards can be incredibly useful financial tools, but they can also be dangerous if you're not careful. When you use a credit card, you're essentially borrowing money from the credit card issuer. And if you're not able to pay off the balance in full each month, you'll start accruing interest on that debt. The problem with credit card debt is that it can quickly spiral out of control. The interest rates on credit cards are often quite high, so even a small balance can end up costing you a lot of money over time. But there's also the psychological factor of using credit cards. The act of swiping a card or typing in a PIN number can make us feel like we're spending less than we actually are. This can lead to overspending and racking up a high balance without realizing it. So, what can you do to avoid racking up credit card debt? First, always make sure to pay your credit card bills on time. Late payments can lead to penalties and fees which can add to your debt. Second, try to pay off your credit card balance in full each month. If you can't, at least make sure to pay more than the minimum payment. Third, be mindful of your credit limit and try to keep your balances as low as possible. The higher your balances, the more interest you'll end up paying. Fourth, don't treat your credit card as an extra source of income. Use it only if it's really needed, and avoid using it for unnecessary expenses. Lastly, consider using cash or debit cards for everyday expenses instead of a credit card. This can help you better keep track of your spending and avoid overspending. Credit card debt can be a slippery slope, but with a little bit of discipline and planning, you can avoid it and keep your finances on track. Remember, the key is to use credit responsibly, keep your balances low, and pay off your debts on time. Not saving enough for retirement. It might seem like something you can worry about later, but the truth is the earlier you start saving for retirement, the better off you'll be. Retirement might seem like a long way off, but time flies by, and before you know it, you'll be nearing the end of your working years. And if you haven't saved enough by then, you'll be in for a rude awakening. When it comes to saving for retirement, the power of compound interest is your best friend. Essentially, compound interest is the interest you earn on your savings, plus the interest on the interest. The longer your money sits in the savings account or investment, the more it grows. And if you start saving early, the power of compound interest can work in your favor. The younger you are, the more time your money has to grow and the less you will have to save to reach your retirement goals. But if you're not sure how much you should be saving for retirement, a general rule of thumb is to aim for saving 15% of your income. And if you're not able to save that much, start with what you can and increase the amount as you go along. There are also different types of retirement accounts that you can use to save for retirement, such as a 401, KE, or an IRA. These accounts offer tax benefits and other perks that can help you save more efficiently. Another interesting way to save for retirement is to find a hobby or a side hustle that can generate some passive income for you, so you can put the extra money in a retirement account. Saving for retirement might not be the most exciting thing on your to-do list, but trust me, it's worth it. Start saving now, no matter how small the amount, and watch your money grow over time. Your future self will thank you. Not building an emergency fund. We'll get to that in a second. I have a favor to ask of you. If you like this video so far, please subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about emergency funds, or what I like to call the financial safety net. It's one of the most important things you can do to protect yourself financially, yet it's also one of the most commonly overlooked. An emergency fund is a savings account that's set aside specifically for unexpected expenses. It's there to help you cover unexpected costs, such as a car repair or a medical bill, without having to rely on credit cards or loans. Having an emergency fund can give you peace of mind, knowing that you're prepared for the unexpected. But how much should you aim to save in an emergency fund? A good rule of thumb is to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in the account. This will give you a cushion to fall back on if you lose your job or face an unexpected expense. Building an emergency fund might not seem like an interesting task, but it's a very rewarding one. One interesting way to build an emergency fund is to set a specific and measurable goal and track your progress towards it. This will give you a sense of accomplishment when you reach your goal. Another interesting way to build your emergency fund is to set automatic savings so that a certain amount of money is transferred to your savings account each month. This will help you save consistently and regularly, and you'll hardly notice the money is gone. You can also find small ways to save money and add them to your emergency fund. For example, you can put your change in a jar and deposit it in your account periodically, or find a way to increase your income by taking on a side hustle or freelancing. In summary, an emergency fund is essential to ensure you're prepared for the unexpected. Building one can be an interesting process if you approach it in a positive, forward-thinking manner by setting specific goals and finding ways to save and add money to your fund. Remember that it's important to have at least 3-6 months of living expenses saved in case of emergencies. Making impulsive purchases. We've all been there. You see something you want, and before you know it, you've bought it. Making impulsive purchases can be a real problem, especially when it comes to your finances. Impulsive buying can be driven by a variety of factors, such as boredom, stress, or even social media influences. But regardless of the reason, impulsive purchases can add up quickly and put a serious dent in your budget. One interesting approach to avoid impulsive purchases is to take a moment to think before you buy. Instead of acting on impulse, take some time to consider whether the purchase is something you truly need and can afford. A good practice is to wait 24 hours before making a big purchase. This will give you time to think about it and ensure that it's not just an impulse buy. Another interesting way to avoid impulsive purchases is to make a shopping list and stick to it. This will help you focus on what you need and avoid impulse buys. Also, you can set a budget for yourself and stick to it. One fun way to avoid impulsive purchases is to challenge yourself to a no-spend month. This means that you won't spend any money on anything but the essentials, such as rent, food, and bills. This will give you a chance to evaluate your spending habits and learn to live within your means. Additionally, you can find an accountability partner or a friend that can help you keep your impulse buying in check. This person can remind you of your goals and hold you accountable for your spending decisions. In summary, making impulsive purchases can be a significant problem when it comes to your finances, but it's something that can be overcome with a little bit of self-awareness and planning. The key is to take a step back and think before you buy, set a budget and stick to it, and find fun and interesting ways to hold yourself accountable. Remember, making thoughtful and deliberate buying decisions will save you money in the long run. But the journey doesn't end here. If you're ready to start improving your financial well-being, take action now. Check the first link in the description for our Frugal Living ebook. Our comprehensive guide covers everything you need to know about living a frugal and rewarding life, including creating a budget, identifying areas for cost cutting, and finding affordable alternatives to everyday expenses. It's never too late to start making smart financial decisions.